So this video is about how I made my month's salary with one project. Okay, and just to let you know, my hair is holding on for dear life right now. It's also super hot here. And to do this video, I have to turn off my fan because it's noisy and it's London, so we don't get AC like in the house. Like no one really does that, right? So please bear with me, okay? And yeah, you're gonna have to hear the story and the backstory because it all makes sense, right, as to everything I'm gonna say. So number one, so I used to work in a company, and this company essentially was a creative company. That was literally just last year. June? So it's been about 7 months since I guess the last time I would have got paid from them. But I really stopped working in like November. I haven't been October, November, I barely went into work. So anyway, so basically I just want to kind of break it down for you guys. So I had a job, at that job, I liked it at first, and then I realized that, they're playing me and I could be earning a lot more money. And obviously when it comes to jobs and a 9 to 5, like the whole idea is that they're going to get the best and the most out of you for the least that they have to pay. That's how these big corporations and companies work when it comes to money. This company they just take advantage of creatives, I think. They have a whole in-house team of creators that do things for like brands and other, companies and stuff like that. So clients come and they essentially help with the client's social media presence. But what they also do is that they tend to use a lot of people in the company that are just, working their job, but they use them to help build, when actors and people are needed, influencers, etc. They use people in-house and they pay them chicken change. Whereas if I was going to get a job straight directly from one of these clients, I'm going to be paid a couple grand. Do you know what I mean? So it's like they take advantage. But anyway, we're not going to go too much into that unless you want to hear it. That would be another video. But I was working in that role, and as the months went by, I just was unhappy, steadily unhappy at that. And I'm aware that I have other skills and things that I can do. And I've always been like on and off when it comes to freelancing and finding work. And I think what happened is in 2020, when I was freelancing, I was in Ghana and I was doing some projects, but obviously it was COVID. So I luckily had like a project or two, like I actually went with 2 free projects that kept me going in Ghana around that time, paid in pounds. Look at God, right? So that was really helpful. But aside from that, I honestly wasn't making any money. I started up a company, online e-commerce, selling like t-shirts and stuff like that. And that was all a part of me trying to like hustle and get some money. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it was like COVID 2020. I'm in Ghana. Like, what am I doing? Like, where's the money come from? Because, I need pounds, right? I need pounds or dollars. So, with that said, that happened during that year. But this time around, I was like, you know what? I am so miserable, right? That even in a company that I felt like I could, be free with, people were so cool, like the nicest people that I've met in terms of colleagues, but management really destroyed my whole hopes of, staying there a little bit longer. But I didn't want to stay there forever anyway. I knew in my gut that I just was going to be there for a period of time, like I am with all these other jobs that I do, right? And so every day, gets draining. You try and do your things on the side and the hustle, and it's like, I don't have the capacity when I get home to now do this because you've taken up and drained all my energy. And then on the weekend, you just want to chill and relax, right? So it's really hard as a creative, as a freelancer as well, or somebody who wants to just kind of like focus on your own creative ventures. It's hard for you to have a job at the same time because of the demands a lot of the time, depending on what job you have. And so I was dealing with a lot of that, right? And when I was younger, it was easier to kind of flex between it, like, you know what I'm saying, like do all-nighters and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just not young anymore, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm young, but you know what I mean? It's like, it gets tiring after a while. I think that's what it is. It just gets tiring and you're just like, oh gosh, like I can't do this anymore. So what happened is, I left that, and in the first month, or let's say like the first month of after me resigning, literally that month, I was still getting paid that month by the end of the month, but I officially had given my notice and they didn't want me to come back into work, which I'm so glad. So glad, because I was like, you was not about to see me. You was not about to see me. And so I remember booking a job as a videographer for this music artist. His name is Ants Live. I don't even know how I got it, but my friend sent me some site about like for freelancers called Sondir, Sondr. And I was like, okay, let me check it out. So I looked at it and I was like, okay, well, let me just apply to a bunch of stuff. So I don't even remember what I submitted to. And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, he's looking for artists to capture, or not artists, sorry. He's an artist looking for filmmakers to capture his performance. It's his first concert and, X, Y, Z. And I was like, all right, cool. So how much are they paying? And it was like $1,000. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. We could do that. That's fine. We could do that. So it essentially, they wanted like a 1-minute edit at the end of it. And the turnover time was like literally like the next day. It was like a really quick turnaround time. But I'm a whiz at editing, 15 plus years in the game. So for me, that wasn't going to be a problem. I was just like, oh yeah, I'm not working right now. Like, cool, that's fine. So went to the event, shot it. And then they chose whose edit they wanted to use for his actual page. I guess it was supposed to be like a bonus and like of, doing the work and stuff like that. It wasn't a competition, but it was a whole thing basically. And I was like, whatever this is, I don't care. Just give me the $1,000, right? So that was literally the month of me officially resigning, and like within 2-3 days, I made $1,000. The second or third, no, actually the second week of December, this was actually first and second week of December, there was another job that came up, and this was through me joining some groups. So I'm in this WhatsApp group with a bunch of UK directors or whatever. I'm also in another group which is like a black females and like creatives and stuff like that. And then I have started following this page at the time called Assisting Work. So between all those things, basically, I don't know what, but one of them, I think it might have been one of the groups or an email chain. I don't know. But that came to me, and it was some American company from Los Angeles coming down, and they just needed people to video them going around and touring London and eating food. It's like, okay, cool. It's like, what was your rate for that? And I was like, for videography, because usually I'm directing, right, or editing. So for videography, I was like, well, because I have all these skills as a director and an editor, if you needed me, if you needed an extra eye for something, especially when it comes to directing, you've got a videographer and a director, even if you didn't pay for it. So I feel like my rate should reflect the fact that my skill level is higher, right? So anyway, I told them $850, and they were like, okay, cool. And I was like, all right, cool. So LA company came, I filmed, I didn't have to edit or anything like that, just $850, and that was that for filming. And then bam, they left. They paid me the next day when they left, and that was it. So I was just kind of like, look at all these things flying in all of a sudden. And I think the fear I had for obviously like leaving the job, not like I haven't not had jobs before and stuff like that. I'm always usually doing like temporary work and work that kind of rotates and finishes. But I think the fear was, okay, now I have a house to think about. Do you know what I mean? I've got a mortgage to pay. I have like bills that are like coming from the mortgage, like, council tax, service charge, all of that stuff, right? So I think in my mind, I was like, oh, I don't want to have an issue where, things fall behind or you can't pay. But then that's life, sometimes you fall behind in bills. It's just life. Like what are they really going to do to you? And this is not encouraging anything. I'm just saying, like, I had to think about it, like, without trying to build myself up in worry and anxiety. What are they really going to do to you? Like, like life still goes on. Like if you can't pay it, you can't pay it, and you express that. As long as you tell them, most times things can be set up. It's when you don't tell them and you don't say anything and then you just leave it and let it run, that's when you run into these issues, right? So anyways, thank God at the time I didn't have that issue. So after I resigned, I was getting paid up until like another month, and because I made that money, I was able to carry that out to the next month. Do you know what I mean? So it worked out by God's grace. So like he had my back. And then also at the same time, my dad has like a property, and I was helping him with the apartment basically. And so I was getting some commissions off of that. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, it worked out well. And that was the whole month of December. And also at the time, because December is like a high, you know, it's a very key month, right? A lot of people are traveling in and out. So you can charge higher for like guests to stay, etc. And that's what I was doing. You could charge a little bit higher. At first, I was charging normal, and I realized, why is it's getting booked up really quickly? And I was like, I'm actually selling myself short, right? So I started doing it for a little bit higher, and was able to like at least get money off commission from that as well. So December was a great month for income, absolutely amazing, right? The project I'm talking about, because I know this video is about one project, yeah, that got me my whole month's salary. So that's when I started charging my actual prices. Okay, so let's talk about that, right? So I feel like as a creative, we're always given like, it's either we're allowing people to just, you know, use our services for free or at mate's rate, or oh, I'll just do it for you, it's fine, or, you know, never really charging a price. And I'm just kind of like at the stage where I'm over that. Like, I understand doing some things, you know, you might want to discount people for certain things and whatever, and that's fine. But I feel like I'm constantly discounting or not even charging really prices because it might be a friend of a friend, or it might be a situation where the person is like, oh yeah, they're a filmmaker as well, and you know, it's just hard, and it's like you understand it, so it's like, oh, okay, cool, fine, I'll do this. And I'm not saying it's not good to like, you know, help out and, you know, give back in that sense, but when this is the sole line of how I'm making my money, like this is the sole income, I can't afford to keep doing that at a loss of me, if that makes sense. Like, I am at a loss. I don't have another job to fall back onto. This is my sole bread and butter. So I have to start charging correctly, right? So for me, I had to kind of learn that. So in the past like couple months, you know, I've had obviously different things that I'm doing, projects that I'm working on solely myself, etc. But I kind of had to learn, and this is very recently, that look, it's okay to help out, as I said, but I can't keep on discounting the value that I bring to a production or whatever it is. I can't do it at expense to myself, right? I can't do it anymore. So I've paid my dues, you know what I'm saying? I've got so much experience and knowledge, and I'm at the stage where I should be making a lot more money, right? And when I kind of had that in my head, I was like, all right, cool. I'm just going to charge my prices, whatever it is. I'm just like, you know, I had prices. It's just I never really go by a lot of those prices because people's budgets and all this stuff, right? And I don't want to be in a position where I'm scrambling for a job because of money. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. Like, even if I need a job at a certain period of time, like, I'm not going to do this whole scrambling thing. I'm not going to put that kind of energy out there. So with this particular job, it's editing. So I've been doing editing for years, even before I started directing. And so I've done a lot of editing jobs, like a lot of them. And I was like, okay, cool. So with this particular job, I was like, I'm going to fully charge my full absolute rates, right? For editing, if you look and see how much editors can get a lot of money. The thing is, it's just the frequency of how often they're on these projects, because editing can take a lot of time. It can take a lot of just your energy because you're working on the same thing for like days, and it's like, oh, especially if you're doing like long form projects, or, you know, projects that are over like a couple minutes, right? You're just staring at the same thing, hearing the people's voices. It starts to get annoying. You're like, shut up, stop talking, but you have to edit, right? So I got to the point where I was like, this is my editing price. This has been my editing price, and I'm going to stick with it. And a job came up, or, you know, someone reached out about a project, and I was like, yeah, well, my price is £50 an hour. That's what my price is for editing. Now, just to give you context, editing can take anywhere from a day, depending on if it's a short project, to a week to 2 weeks to 3 weeks to a month to months, whatever. You know, it depends what the project is, right? And depends how long the content is. Even music videos that you guys see online, it could take about like a week to edit, depending on the intricacies of the music video, right? So if you think about that in context, and then how much people could charge for their editing services, depending on how senior they are as well, as an editor, you can get a lot of money. And I think once you're in a system where it's like you're collectively getting jobs, then, and you get faster at doing editing as well, you can make probably more money. Because if in 1 week someone comes to you, say, hey, I need you to do this project, blah, 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 and they need it within 3 days, and you're like, okay, because it's so fast of a turnaround, I'm going to have to charge you like a higher rate. Okay, cool. What's your rate? It's 150 per hour, right? Think about that. I can't do calculations right now because I'm using my whatever, but and I'm not a math whiz. But if you want 150, right? Guys, I had to pause it. I'm not gonna act like I knew the answer to that. I had to pause it and find out because, as I said, maths is not my strongest. Yeah, so don't laugh at me. Maths is not my strongest. But so basically, what I'm saying is, if you were to, I don't know why my screen is so dark right now. There we go. Is that a little bit brighter? Excellent. So what I'm saying is, if you were to do a quick calculation of 150 times 3 days, right? A day is like 8 hours. Let's say 8 hours of work in a day. That's already 3,600, and that's 3 days, right? So that's high yielding because they needed a faster turnover and your rate was higher, right? Already you're winning, right? Because say you booked like 4 or 5 more jobs that month and you were able to do them. Just think about how much you would be earning. Like, and obviously if you're not doing a high rate, right? You're still, the more jobs you're booking, the more opportunity it gives you to essentially like make money, right? And any standard editing job that is not, even if it's like a short commercial, at least is going to take like at least, a day, right? So if you're charging £50 an hour, that at least for a day rate, regardless of how long it takes, you're saying, well, yeah, my day rate is £50 an hour. Simple. But that's your day rate, right? So you might not say to them that, yeah, my rate is £50 an hour, so if it takes me 2 hours, whatever. No, you might say, you just give me a day rate because I have to block off my day now, right, to do this. So yeah, guys, and 400 for 1 day's work is not bad. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not bad. So what I would say, if you have something you're passionate about, right? If there's something you have been exploring and you're not sure about it, maybe a job's tying you down, maybe it's just like your belief system in yourself. First and foremost, I would say go onto my other page. I'm going to link it down below. It's more so about motivation when it comes to your mindset, mind, body, spirit. I'm currently doing a challenge, a 21-day challenge, £21,000 in 21 days using my mind alone to generate that, right? And when I say mind, I mean just kind of like getting myself in a better place mentally to be able to manifest the things that I want. And so I'm documenting my journey on my other channel, so definitely tune into that. I'll leave the link below if you want to watch that. But I think I've got to the point myself personally where I'm not about to settle for less, and I'm not going to allow a system that is designed to keep me in a box. I'm not going to allow it to win, especially when I'm not happy in the position that I am in. So me leaving that job is the best thing I've ever done. I'm not looking back. Right now, I'm like a full-time self-employed, full-time freelancer. I don't intend to just scurry back to a job. Yes, there's been tough times. I'm not going to lie. There's been times where it's like, all right, this is looking a little bit bleak right now. But again, I'm not going to allow those circumstances to put me back into a place where I just don't want to be. And I think I've just, started to get the hang of this, posting stuff on YouTube and whatnot, because the inconsistency is what has got me to where I am, right? So whatever progress I have had when it comes to my YouTube channel, inconsistency is probably why I'm not making 6 figures plus via my YouTube right now, because I could have been if I was consistent. Yeah, I really could have been. Yeah, kind of, let me not talk about that. What we're looking at the future, because I will be making 6+ figures on my YouTube channel, but also my other streams of monetization, because I'm not just trying to have one. They say if you want to be a millionaire, you need to at least have 6 streams of other income, whether it's passive, active. And there's things I've looked into. So aside from the fact that, the project I'm working on essentially got me my whole month's salary, aside from that, it's like, how else can I, how else can I look into things that I'm able to generate money from and monetize? I have to look at the skills that I have. Is it teachable? Can I teach things to people? Can I design a course, workshop? There's so many things you can do nowadays. Like, there's so many things. Can I sell a digital product? And it just takes using your noggins. It just takes using your brain, you know. It's not actually as serious as they make it out, trust me. And I think the difference between people that succeed and people that don't is the consistency, right? How bad do you really want to have a life where you get to, schedule your time, right? And by the way, freelancing and whatever doesn't mean that I just have all the time in the world, because I think what people also forget is that what comes with it is that every hour of my time is valuable, right? Every hour of my time is valuable, meaning that if I want to, go out and do something, spend time with, XYZ, that is my time, right? Because I'm not getting a weekly or monthly income that is guaranteed via my job, right? I'm having to hustle. I'm having to, make the right moves in order to secure clients, right? To make sure that I'm going to get paid for that month. And so time is valuable. And so any hour of my time, whether it's the weekend or whatever, it's still another day that I could potentially use to book a client, utilize my skills in the areas I spoke about in order to generate some kind of income for myself. So, and it's not just, I don't want to just have a system where it's just client based on who wants my expertise. I want to be able to give out also the skills that I have. Who needs my expertise? Who needs a consultation? Who needs me to teach them this? Hey, tune into my masterclass, right? Just pay £25 or whatever, and you can tune in, and I'm giving you like the gems. So I think that is all of the other ways that I've obviously looked into. But if you yourself are in a position where you hate your job or you don't like it, you're not really where you feel like you want to be. None of us feel that way, right? Everybody's always achieving or in their mind, they're like, okay, I just need to be here. And then when they're there, it's almost like you forget about when you was over there, like, relax. So I've just become at a place where I'm just content with anything that I'm doing. I don't stress out about things. I don't worry. I try to keep my mind just centered and just enjoy life, right? Every day that you're alive is a new day to be able to just live and enjoy life. And I think that when we focus and use our brain power to just focus on things that are not really productive, that in hindsight just keeps us in this little kind of like bubble of just our thoughts and our feelings, and that can sometimes literally be the reason as to why you are regressing and not progressing. And I'm sitting here saying this, as I said, not like I'm a millionaire yet, right? But I believe that I'm able to hit that bracket because ChatGPT said I'm a gold mine when I told it how many different skills I have and how can I make money. But because I believe in myself, I believe in my worth, I believe in my value. And I know that I have so many skills that either people want or people pay for because they don't do it themselves, right? And I just need to tap into, continue to tap into the right clientele, the right people, not continue to lower my rates because my rates are my rates and I've earned the rates that I actually, say that I've earned my rates. Okay, right? So I think that if you're trying to like start out, if you're trying to like, get to a position where you're making the money you want to make, I'm not making that money yet, but I'm a step towards the right direction, right? I'm a step towards the right direction. Definitely 100%. So that's my 2 cents. But guys, it's been real. As I said, I'm gonna leave the link below for my 21-day challenge that I'm doing. And just stay tuned for some other videos. I'm gonna be just giving out some of my knowledge from past, whatever situations, work, jobs, life. I'm just gonna be giving out my knowledge based around like, what I do and everything, being